This is a video that you'll be watching about ageing well. And in the interview, I'm going to be having a conversation with Di. I chose to have a conversation with Di because I think Di, as well as anyone that I know, is a wonderful example of what it is to age well from a psychological, from an emotional and from a physical point of view. Di, one of the gurus of ageing, an American psychiatrist, George Vaillant, said as people age, they either become sad and unwell or happy and well. On those dimensions, where do you see yourself?
Well, it's always very difficult to judge yourself, to say things about yourself. It's really how others perceive you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very flattered that you perceive me as ageing well. I think I certainly feel fairly happy and healthy, and so I think that probably I could say that I'm ageing healthily and happily. Touch wood.
Yes.
Yes, so I think probably you're right in assessing that I am there. I don't know whether I'm the happiest and fittest person you could ever find, but I'm certainly in the upper sort of levels, perhaps.
Yes. What are the things in your life that you think make you happy?
Well, of course, my family relationships.
Mm-hmm. How many children do you have?
I have 3 children, all in their 40s, and they all live fairly nearby, so I see a lot of them, and also I see a great deal of my 6 grandchildren.
Right.
So that's a nice basis to start from.
Yes. Do you see similarities between your children and your grandchildren and yourself in terms of things like values and the way you lead your life?
Yes, I think so. I think my children all have very great regard for family strength, and all want their marriages to work, and all want they put a lot into their family lives, as we've always done.
Yes.
So in that way, I think so.
Yes.
And I think none of them are actually obsessing about money or status or things like that, and we never have either.
No.
So I suppose if that's the sort of thing you mean, yes, I think there is a similarity.
Yes. How long have you and Ian been married?
Well, 52 years.
52 years.
Yes.
That's a long time.
It is.
What are the essential ingredients that have kept the relationship so happy and so healthy?
Well, I think the fact that we've always put the other one first.
Right.
We always try to please each other, and we try not to be rude to each other.
Yes. So compromise, respect.
Yes.
Yes. What about things like humour?
Yes.
Are they important, do you think?
I think very important.
Very important.
For me, yes. Yes, laughing at the same thing and having someone who can make you laugh.
Right. Yes. So as part of your identity, you'd see yourself as someone who's got a good sense of humour?
Yes, I think so. I hope so.
And Ian as well?
Yes.
Yes. That makes you smile. Ian's obviously can be a very funny character.
He can fall into the trap of not taking things seriously enough.
Yeah. Yes. So just going back earlier in your life, because it's an important transition to make, tell me a little bit about your career.
Well, I was a teacher. I taught maths at a secondary level.
Right.
And maths has always been the thing that I liked very much. It suits my temperament. I love maths, and so I very much enjoyed teaching it. So that was my career. And for the first part of my career, I taught in England because I was born in England and brought up there. I came to Australia when I was 29.
Right.
And I taught in schools there, and I also lectured at a teacher training college.
Right.
Then we came to Australia, and I had a family, and when our family were a little bit older, I started teaching again at an all-girls secondary school, which was a very, very pleasant place to work, and I stayed there for 22 years.
Did you really? Right.
Yes.
Now, someone told me too that you were an outstandingly good teacher.
Well, I wouldn't like to assess myself in that way.
No. You did, though, I understand, get some outstanding results.
Well, we did have some good results, but we also had some very good students.
Did you? Yes.
Yes.
Could you just fill in a bit more the detail about some of the results that you achieved in your teaching?
Um, well, I, we did have some very good results at matriculation results.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people getting full marks in their
Yes.
matric exam, and we're very pleased with those.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So in that way, but I always felt that the students who were going to do that, probably they weren't the ones that required the skilled teaching.
No.
For me, it was bringing the C students up to B
Right.
that gave me the greatest pleasure.
Right. 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 What were the things about teaching and education that the ingredients in that were most appealing?
I liked the subject matter.
Did you? Yes.
And I liked sort of splitting it up into easy stages so that it was comprehensible.
Mm-hmm.
One new little thing at a time, and then it all adds up,
Right.
rather than swamping them with stuff. So
Yes.
I enjoyed the actual subject matter and presenting it in an understanding way. But I also loved knowing all the students. And you do get to know students very well when you have a maths lesson with them every day, as we used to.
Sure. Sure. Do you think who you are as a person was significant in your teaching career?
I think it would have to be, really.
Yeah. Because there's a generosity in your spirit, really, a sort of sense of well-being and purpose that you would give people, I think.
Yes, I know that I had lots of problems and faults. You always know that. You know that you're not doing a perfect job. But I always did my best and got something out of it.
Yes, yes, yes.
Mm.
And when you left teaching, it was a very big part of your life, of course. I mean, marking and the after-hours work,
Yes.
quite apart from the day-to-day work at school. There's a big time span there that you need to find things to fill.
Yes.
What sort of things did you do?
Well, I did do a little bit of relief teaching for the first few years, so that sort of was like a transition period. So
Mhm.
that's quite a good way to do it, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But also I joined a reading group.
Right.
And so that means you've always got something interesting to read, and
Yes.
you discuss the book with the other people in the group, and you make friends with them, and you get to know people really well when you're talking about a book. You know, people
Yes.
reveal a
Yes.
lot about themselves, and
Yes.
all of the people in my group, they would see different things in the book. So
Mhm.
there's
Mhm.
that, and I still do that. I'm still in that group.
Are you really?
Have been in that group for quite a few years now.
Right.
And then I went back to playing bridge, which I had played when I was younger. So people invited me to play bridge with them. I don't take that I'm not a good bridge player, but I've just played once a fortnight with the same three people, and we really enjoy the bridge, and we talk about the bridge quite a lot,
Mhm.
but we talk about a lot of other things as well.
Yes.
So
Yes.
they're really close friends now, those
Yes.
people.
Yes. Yes.
And I was asked if I would like to be the treasurer of the committee for the Friends of the Australian Ballet in Adelaide.
Right.
And I'd never...
Your
never
maths
done-
would have come in very handy there.
Well, in a way, but it's bookkeeping is an art of its own,
Right.
really. There are a lot of
Yes.
conventions. So I found out about those, and I enjoyed doing that, and I did that for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I met an enormous number of people through that. People in the ballet world and people in Adelaide who are interested in music and dance. And there are a lot of friends that I've retained since then. So all those things open up new worlds to you,
Yes.
and are worth doing, I think, those sort of things.
Certainly. Certainly. There's an emphasis in all of that really on social aptitude and connections with people. People are obviously very important to you in your life.
Oh, I think so, and they always have been.
Yes.
And I think I've always sought friendship and relationships with people.
Mm-hmm.
This may be partly because I was brought up without any brothers or sisters,
Right.
and so I always thought it was a little bit boring at home. I used to read a lot and so on. So I had to make an effort to go out and be with people. I always loved being with other people. I always appreciated that and didn't particularly value my own company,
Right.
because I could always have that whenever I wanted it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Di, there's other interests you have too, aren't there? I mean, theatre and music and...
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, music music has become a big part of my life, largely through my husband, because he's very keen on classical music.
Right.
Plays used to play the clarinet quite well and still plays. So he loved going to concerts, and I think classical music is an acquired taste. You have to listen to it a lot to enjoy it more and more, and that has happened to me. And so now it's a big part of my life. We go to a lot of concerts and mix with people who play music too.
Yes. You also organise concerts at your house, don't you?
We do. We're lucky enough to have a room big enough to house a small grand piano and have room for people to sit and listen. And we have a friend who plays the piano very well. And
do you? You're very fortunate.
We're very lucky to have him. And really, he's the basis of our concerts.
Right.
Because he... people love coming to hear him play.
Yeah, well, that's lovely. How many people would come to those concerts?
Well, I would say usually about 40 people, but sometimes we've had as many as 60.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people.
And you would regard those people as friends?
Yes, they're all people that we know, and people that we know who love classical music. We don't invite anyone unless they're people who actually go to concerts.
No.
Too.
Yes.
So they're all music-loving people, but they're all acquaintances and friends from various parts of our lives.
Yeah. Now, the other aspect of ageing well, I suppose, is the physical aspect of ageing well and keeping yourself not only free of disease, but healthy physically.
Yes.
Tell me what you've done to achieve that, because one of the things I understand is you've recently bought some bikes.
Well, we have. Well, now I'll tell you about those in a minute. But I think that I've always thought that being fit and it makes you feel well and makes you feel happy if you're well exercised. And I've always liked physical activities. And when I was younger, I loved skating and horse riding and all those sort of things. I've always loved. So I've loved being active.
Even more than that, though, I understand you're an outstanding hockey player.
Well, I was in my late teens, long time ago. Yes, since I've been older, I suppose I've always got on my mind that I should be fit, but I do tend to be a little bit lazy about it. But I think I've always had something that I think I'm trying to achieve. I always used to love walking, so I started off by doing a lot of walking. And then I found that I got plantitis, I think it is, in my feet, and so I couldn't do so much walking. And then I started going to fitness classes, and I went to those for several years, just twice a week doing exercises, and that I found gave me a great feeling of well-being. For another little bit of time, I went swimming twice a week with my daughter when she wasn't working. So that was good. We did it together, and I did that twice a week. But I tend to do things for a while, often for several years, and then they sort of fade away and I do something else. I don't stick at one sort of physical exercise forever and ever sort of thing.
No, but that's probably very sensible, isn't it, to rotate and do different sorts of physical activity. But the theme through all of that is a recognition that you need to be physically fit.
I mean, it's varied with me, but I've always had something on the go. And the thing that we have on the go at the moment is cycling, but it is cycling with a bit of help. We've got e-bikes.
Right.
So that again is a bit lazy, but your legs are turning round. And so I guess that is an activity. And you certainly come back feeling really good. So at the moment my husband and I, we're doing an e-bike ride every day.
Are you really?
For about an hour and a half or 2 hours.
Right.
And we really love it. It's given our life another dimension. So that's our exercise du jour.
Right. That's a very good exercise du jour.
Yes.
The other thing is you've built on a number of skills you had earlier in your life, haven't you, since you've retired from work?
Yes, I have. I don't think I've really learnt any very new ones. But one thing that I have built on a little bit is playing the piano. I learned to play the piano as a very little child when I was about 6 or 7 or 8, and then I didn't play it again after that. But the fact that I'd had learned to read music then, and could play just sort of a tiny bit by then, meant that I had something to build on. And so I have enjoyed playing the piano again. But I don't feel I've become very good at it, even though I've been practicing for quite a few years. And again, I have lapses. I have a lapse at the moment, but I intend to get back to it.
Right.
But I just play for my own pleasure.
Yeah. Do you have any longer term plans? Any things that you really want to work on or achieve or develop, or new things that you might want to do?
I don't think I do really at the moment. I love seeing my grandchildren grow and help them, and I'm very interested to see what's happening to them,
Right.
and to sort of live through them a little bit. And yes, I don't think I could say that I've got a long. I just do things as they crop up.
No. One of the main things that's been shown to help people age well really is what's been called the keeper of meaning, and the way in which that's passed on from one generation to another. Talking to you, it's very clear that that's important. I mean, in your teaching career, in your relationships with people of your own age, and also with your grandchildren. That's a very important theme in your life.
Yes.
It gives you a great deal of meaning and satisfaction.
Yes, I think it does. I think that link, that continuity, and feeling there's a little bit of you in other people.
That's right.
Hopefully you've influenced other people's lives for good,
Yes.
in a happy,
Yes.
good way.
Yes. And that bears on another thing, and that is being altruistic, doing things for other people's good.
Yes.
That's, again, a quality which runs very strongly through your life.
I think it does. And I think that I have not done very much voluntary work since I've been retired. I'd like to think that I've done more than I have.
You do voluntary work with your family and with your friends?
I do childcare, quite a lot of childcare. And I did do the ballet thing, but I wouldn't mind doing a little more voluntary work if I actually got around to sorting something out.
Mm-hmm. What about things like smoking and a good diet and alcohol and those sorts of things?
Yes, I think they're very important.
Mm-hmm.
I don't smoke. I did smoke when I was younger. I don't think we realised then how bad it was.
No.
But
Philip Morris had a very strong campaign
Yes.
that caused no problems for many, many years.
Yes, I stopped when I was pregnant with my second child.
Right.
And I haven't started again. So that's, something that's right well and truly behind me.
And you did that for health reasons?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
And alcohol, well, I do like a glass of wine,
Mm-hmm.
or 2 glasses of wine.
Right.
So I don't cut that out. And food, I feel I would always like to eat a bit less than I do.
Right.
I don't like sugary things particularly, so
You're
I don't have
fortunate
much
really
sugar.
in that regard, aren't you? 'Cause a
I
lot of people
like
do
chocolate, but other than that,
Sure.
yes.
Yeah.
So, but yes.
But you're conscious of wanting to eat well and good diets.
Yes, very.
Yeah.
And I think, it's better not to be too heavy.
Sure.
If you can help it.
Sure. Now, Di, are there any other things that you wanted to say about ageing well?
Well, I think it's very valuable to take an interest in current affairs.
Mm-hmm.
I think it keeps your mind alert and alive. It keeps you moving with the times a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a newspaper reader, which I know is very old hat now. But of course, you can read it on the internet as well. So
Yes.
you don't have to. But I just think that's a very good way of keeping your mind open and looking ahead. And also, it gives you conversation with other people.
It does.
Rather than just
Yes.
platitudes.
Yes.
So I think that's a really worthwhile thing to think
Yes.
about.
It also looks beyond yourself, doesn't it? It looks
Yes.
to the wider world and to other people and gives you a
Yes.
different perspective on how other people might feel or think about the world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Another thing about keeping sort of fit and agile, if you like, I think that you're best not to fall into the trap of being too lazy to get up. If you're settled down on the settee reading something or you're watching television, don't just think, I'm not going to move no matter what. As soon as if you want a drink of water, or if you want to go and see if the washing's dry or whatever, just get up and do it. You know, get up as often as you can to do things. And all that helps to keep you a bit fluid and flexible.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if somebody else wants something, get up and get it for them. And then that gives you a nice relationship with that person. They'll do things for you then.
That's a lovely way of looking at it. It's really a lovely way
I
of
don't
looking
do
at
it to make other people do things for me.
No, I understand.
But I think it's a very helpful way. And I think if you have a permanent companion, as I'm lucky enough to have with my husband, that sort of attitude that I'll do anything for you at any time.
Yes, I can
if
imagine.
you're both like that, it sort of gives a very much more meaningful, kind, healthy relationship.
Yes, I can imagine both you and Ian either racing for the tap or racing for the refrigerator to get an ice cream out for one another, and who's the fastest?
Well, it's not quite like that, but it is. You know, we do try to look after
Sure.
each other.
Sure. Yes. Tell me a bit more about Ian.
Well, yes, I don't really particularly like talking about him. I mean, I know him so well, it's very hard to know
Yes.
what to say.
Yes.
But we have been lucky that we just sort of jog along very happily together and have very similar views on the important things in life.
Yes.
And as I say, we very rarely have a disagreement. So we're sort of lucky in that way. And that is actually the basis for a happy life. All the other things, you know, fall by the wayside a little bit, I think, without it.
Yeah. Yes. Di, you demonstrate really well the capacity that some people have of taking lemons as the ingredients of life and turning them into lemonade.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much, Di. It's been just delightful to talk to you, and I'm sure it's been really helpful for people to see how you've led your life and what you've been able to achieve in the process of ageing. So thank you very much.
Well, it's been a pleasure to talk to you too, Tony.
Thank you. We've just seen the interview with Di, and there are many factors that one could identify about ageing well. But the principal one amongst all of them is, of course, relatedness and relationships. One sees that in all aspects of Di's life, the way she relates to people, and that's the key to ageing well. Di has a large friendship network, and she plays that out in the various and very balanced things that she does in her life. She belongs to a reading group. She belongs to a bridge group. She goes to concerts with many friends. In fact, she even organises concerts in her house with 60 to 80 people. And of course, they're her friends, but she has extremely good relationships with her family, with her children, with her grandchildren, and of course, very significantly, with her husband of over 50 years, Ian. And Di recognises the significance of those things. And she expresses from her identity, from the person she is, the important aspects of what it is to age well, which have been identified in all the evidence and all the research that's been done on ageing well. And those things are altruism, care for other people, generosity, a sense of humour, and gratitude. And you can see in the interview with Di as a person, but also in the things that she describes in her life, how significant the playing out of those things have been in her life. Now, there's some of, if you like, the emotional and the psychological aspects of things, but she also brings into balance other aspects, physical aspects of her life. She exercises. That's very important in ageing well. She walks most days. And recently, she and her husband have bought bikes and they go cycling for perhaps an hour and a half most days. She also swims with her daughter. She doesn't smoke. She drinks alcohol in moderation, and she has a good, healthy diet. Those physical things predict good ageing, not just in what we see with Di, but all the evidence and all the research suggests that those things are fundamental. They're critical to how people age. The guru of ageing is the American psychiatrist and academic George Vaillant. And when Vaillant was asked to summarise what it is that helps people age well. He said, relationships, relationships, and relationships.